Hi guys, uh, today our topic is how to learn taxation, how to learn law and how to learn auditing. Because these are the three subjects where many CA intern and CA final student faces little trouble. So through this video, we are learning how to learn. Actually, I am receiving calls from many students from past 3 days and they're asking one common question. Sir, how to learn that subject? Sir, how to remember the subject in especially law and audit? How to remember them? One common answer which I told them is never try to remember. If you try to remember, you'll never remember. It's not remembering is the objective of learning. You know, if you really learn something, you naturally remember it. Remembrance is a byproduct of learning. By the way, watch the video till the end. I'm going to give you certain beautiful insights about how to learn these subjects. Actually, I'm in fact explaining you my thought process. How do I learn anything? So I'm explaining you my thought process, how I think. When I'm reading a particular subject, how do I think? So that's what I'm going to explain you through this video. Before I proceed further, I wanted to clarify you certain questions. How to learn law, how to learn taxation, how to learn audit. There is a connection between these three. If you observe, company law, SEBI, all other like Competition Act, FEMA, these are all administrative laws. Whereas income tax, GST, they are revenue laws. So what's the difference between an administrative law and a revenue law? The income tax law, GST law has been introduced because government want revenue to run the economy. Company law, SEBI law are introduced because the businesses are expanding, and in the business, like one or two persons are not investing. Lakhs of people are investing in a single business entity. And obviously, because so many from public are involved, it has to be regulated by government. And that's why the concept of company law, SEBI law has been brought. So the objective of company law and SEBI or FEMA, these are all not for the purpose of getting revenue. These are administrative regulatory laws. Whereas income tax and GST are revenue laws. First, I start my example with how to learn income tax. How to learn. Why you need to learn income tax. Listen to this carefully. See, why I need to learn income tax? First of all, let us understand what is income tax. Income tax is nothing but tax on income. It is one way of revenue to the government. One way of source of income to the government of India. They want income. And one way they want income is levying tax. One tax that levying is, that is income tax. Because you are residing in this country, earning income from this country, because by using resources of this country, you need to pay tax to this country because you are gaining from the economy, so you need to return something to the economy. So that is nothing but income tax. How to learn this income tax? See, you need to pay tax on income, right? Which means you need to understand how to calculate this tax. And income means not the general meaning of income which you know or which I know. The Income Tax Act have given a separate meaning to the concept of income. They explain what is income, what is not income, all that. So you need to understand, okay, as per income tax law, there is a meaning for income. As by applying that meaning, I need to calculate income. On that, I need to calculate tax. Now, income tax law divides the income into multiple categories. That's what you call it as heads of income. The income tax law classifies multiple, incomes into 5 categories. You look at any category of income, like any head of income you take, the computation is same. You take gross revenue minus you take expenses, then you get the net income. Sir, is it same? Is it same for section 15? Is it same for section 22? Is it same for section 28? Is it same for section 45? Is it same for section 56? Yes, it is same. But the thing is, the names are different. Suppose you take salary. The gross income is called as gross salary. Expenses are called as deductions. And the net income is called as income taxable under salary. You take 28 PGBP. The gross income is called as turnover. And expenses are called as deductions, and the net income is called as income from PGPP. You take uh, capital gains. The gross income is called as full value of consideration in case of non-depreciable assets. And expenses are called as cost of acquisition, cost of improvement, and the income is called as capital gains. You take house property. The gross income is called as gross annual value, and there are some deductions, and you get some net income. Same way other sources. Which means the outer line in every head of income is same. First understand that. Now, sir, how to calculate this gross income? Whatever income we get in our hand, can I take as it is? No, they have given some rules. How to calculate gross income? What is meant by that income in each head of income? They have given some section numbers. They have given some analysis, because you need to calculate tax as per the income tax department point of view. What is income tax? Ultimately, you are learning how to calculate tax in order to pay to the government. That's it. The ultimate objective of learning income tax is very, very, very simple. You need to understand how to calculate tax and pay the tax to the government, the right amount as per the income tax law, determined as per income tax law. So this is the outer line of learning income tax. So incomes will be there, expenses will be there. Income minus expenses is equal to net income. On that you need to apply tax. On that you need to calculate tax. How to calculate this tax? Every year the finance budget will mention at what rate income tax has to be calculated on the income. What is the rate of tax? Tax is calculated as a percentage of income. That is called ad valorem basis, percentage of. Income tax is also ad valorem structure only, simply speaking. You are calculating how much you have to pay to government based on a percentage of income you are earning. At how much percentage, how to calculate the tax, all that will be given in the every year Finance Act. This is income tax, simply speaking. If you want to give me a outer line towards the income tax, this is income tax. Now inside this there are so many subcomponents, rules and regulations, which income is taxable, which income is not taxable, how to calculate this tax, when you should pay this tax, should you pay the tax in the current year, or should you pay the tax in the next year, or should you pay the tax when you're earning, or can you wait from payment of tax until next year? That and all again procedural aspects, advanced tax, TDS, all that are procedural aspects. Now what is GST? GST is like a indirect tax. GST is on consumption, not on the income. GST is on consumption. Every person, whoever is selling goods, whoever is selling services, nothing but whoever is supplying, has to collect some amount of tax from the customer and pay to the government. Getting it? It is a consumption based tax. It is an indirect tax. The difference between income tax and GST is on turnover, income tax is on profit. But I don't think I need to explain much, because you understood what is income tax. Now a similar understanding, both the objectives are to take revenue. Simply the objective of whether income tax or GST, the objective from the government point of view is to just get the revenue in order to run the economy. That's it. Now coming to company law or SEBI law, what is the process of learning you should have? What is the process behind the learning? See, a company is nothing but two or more than two people, they come together, started a business, and that business organization registered under Companies Act. So that business entity is called as a company. Because in that business entity, so many public can come and participate in the ownership. That's an association that has to be regulated, so that if any dispute comes, you have to resolve it easily. They need to be monitored because public is involved. So there is a law, company law. And if the company is having ownership from multiple corners of the economy, the company shares are they were purchased and sold very frequently on a stock market. So SEBI will involve to monitor this company affairs. So this is the outline of why SEBI law is there, why company law is there, why are you learning company law, why are you learning SEBI law. By the way, I am telling you a basic perspective of why are you learning the laws. Suppose if you take company law, Everyone reads what is holding company, what is subsidiary company, what is small company, what is 1% company. Everyone reads. But nobody try to understand why am I reading holding company subsidiary company relationship, why am I reading small company, what is the necessity behind introducing the concept of small company, why there should be a definition for small company. Nobody thinks from the angle of why. Everybody thinks what is what, how what, that's it. But nobody questions why. Holding company and subsidiary company relationship you are studying. First of all, understand they are two different companies. You are studying relationship between these companies. Sir, why should I study, sir? If one company is suffering something, some problem, financial crunch, the related company will help it. Now tomorrow you want to invest in this related company, you not only look at this profit and loss account and balance sheet, you need to look at consolidated picture, because they will help each other. So just because Tata Consultancy Services is having huge profits, don't blindly invest. Tata Consultancy Services profit is eaten away by its other sister companies, brother companies. TCS is supporting entire Tata group. So TCS may be highly performing, but as a whole group, you need to look at the picture as a whole. So means you need to look at not only at the company but also its related parties in order to know whether to invest in that company or not. That's why we look at consolidated picture. It is as simple as such. If you're marrying a person, do you look at only at that person or do you look at his family as a whole? A family as a whole. Same way, if you want to invest in a company, don't only look at that company, look at its related parties. That is the reason why are you learning company law. So now what is audit? Audit is nothing but company law, SEBI, income tax, GST. These are all prescribing various rules and regulations for various purposes. Whether the business organizations, are they following them or not properly, you are there to verify. That is what audit is nothing but a verification duty. That is an audit. So how to do this audit, what is meant by audit, all that you are going to learn through standards and auditing. See, I need to make the video as minimum as possible so that it has to be interesting for you. So I can't explain more than this. I can explain if I take just audit. If you give me auditing alone, 1 hour I'll explain why audit is important. You give me company law and ask me 1 hour I'll explain. 1 hour I can explain how to read company law. But I wanted to give you outer line of what is company law, what is income tax law, how to learn them. If you see, it's not how, it's why you need to learn. In fact, the right question is, it's not how, it's why. If you read, whenever you're reading any item, any provision or any sentence, word by word interpret each and everything. Why that word has a meaning, what is the meaning for that word, what is the significance of that word. Suppose everyone thinks, suppose you look at house property charging section, one of my favorite charging section. Annual value of any property consisting of building or land appurtenant thereto, for which the SSE is the owner, is chargeable to tax under the head income from house property, provided that where such property is being used for SSE's business or profession, then the same is not chargeable under income from house property. The word used is not chargeable. But may everybody what they interpret, it is taxable under PGBP. No, it is not taxable. Have you ever remember in income PGBP, is there any house property that is taxed in PGBP? No. The thing is, if you are using a building for business, it's a fixed asset. It's not an income. From that fixed asset, you are not getting any income. By using that fixed asset, you are generating business income. That's why it's a fixed asset under PGBP, not a house property income. That's why they excluded it. So learn the sentences properly. Read it thoroughly. Don't read it like as a whole. Holistic view. That's not correct. You need to understand holistically the subject. As a whole, you need to understand what am I learning? Why am I learning? What is the learning outcome? Then you need to look into the depth. You need to go inside the subject. In-depth learning is important. If at all you're having any other queries, you can reach me on this number. You can Telegram or you can WhatsApp me. I'll reply you in my free time. Have a nice time. I hope I gave some insights about my way of thinking. Okay, like if at all you still not get a full-fledged clarity, at the end of this video I'm going to attach my 2 or 3 classes relating to law or auditing. You can understand how I explain the subject, why I will make every student understand why he is learning it. If you understand why you're learning it, you understand the real process of learning, and if you understand it, automatically you remember. Remembrance is a byproduct. That's it. Have a nice time. Good night. Bye bye.